How's it, everyone? Wayne the Unknown here, and welcome back to Cosplay Con Talk, where we basically discuss everything pertaining to the cosplay community and conventions. I'm joined here by Hummin H-2 for another episode of Get to Know That Cosplayer.
Oop, I think I lost you.
Oh, still there?
I hear you now. There you go.
Okay, there we go. How are you doing, Roger?
I'm doing good, thanks.
Again, thank you for coming on to talk about your cosplay experiences, your convention experiences, and all-around experience as a cosplayer.
Definitely my pleasure. Always enjoy sharing what I've gone through and what I'm going through still.
So, to begin, how long have you been cosplaying for, and what made you want to get into cosplay?
As far as cosplaying, I probably want to say I've been doing it for maybe 8 years or so. I've been doing costuming for a long time, probably more like 20 years. I was always a big Halloween person. So I was always making my own costumes way back in the day, but I was mainly towards horror and gore and stuff like that until I was introduced to the Comic-Con circuit. So I think my first con was 2016, and it was in San Jose, California at Silicon. And I had a Hulk suit, and a friend of mine said, "Hey, let's bring that Hulk suit to a con." And I said, "Okay." I've never done that one before, so I did it. It was a great experience. It was actually the first Hulk suit that people have seen at a con, so it worked out well. I kind of enjoyed interacting with people, and I think that's pretty much what got me more into cosplaying is the interactions with people at cons.
Nice. And for those who are not familiar with Hummin H-2, he's mainly known for making big, massive cosplays. I've seen a good chunk of your cosplays online. I think the one I really liked the most was your massive R2D2 mech.
Oh yeah, I call him the Vader Buster.
Vader Buster. We'll
You
get
know,
more into that.
it's it's a mashup, right? There's no Hulk in the Star Wars universe, so I figure R2's got to fight somebody, so might as well be Vader, his old master.
I love it. We'll get more into that cosplay. So what was your very first convention?
There was Silicon in San Jose.
Silicon. I think I've actually heard of that. It's a pretty decent sized con.
Yeah, back then it was really really big, and then it kind of flattened out, and then now it's actually run by Adam Savage. So it's
Yeah, I heard that he bought rights to that con.
yeah, so now he made it more like a maker con, and it's really great though. You have a lot of artists that are there showcasing their stuff. A lot of foam smith and sci-fi guys. It's still not as big as it was back in the day. Back in the day, they used the entire convention floor, the lower floors, and the other rooms. And this one is still building to a new type of con that he's creating, and it's starting to garner more attention. It's getting bigger and bigger.
Nice. So if you can remember, how many cons have you been to so far?
Oh gosh, this one. I do a lot of the local ones here. I live in San Francisco Bay Area, so I've been to San Diego Con, WonderCon, New York Comic Con, Silicon, VacaCon, most of the local circuits around here. I did a show out in Saudi Arabia. I got asked to go to Dubai.
You've cosplayed internationally too then.
I have, yes.
Well, thank you for being another international cosplayer on this channel.
Oh, you had other ones. Great.
Yeah, no, like I think it's cool that, people get to cosplay internationally who are like from the States and they get to go, and vice versa. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it was great. It was my first time ever being in Saudi Arabia, and when I was invited to go, I was like, well, I don't think I'm ever going to go to Saudi Arabia, so I might as well give this a try. And I brought the Juggernaut suit out there, and it was an amazing experience, I have to say. Different culture, but very nice people, and it was a good time.
What's the con circuit out like over there? I heard it once from another cosplayer who lives over in the Middle East, but I didn't get to know much. What's it like cosplaying over there for cons?
Uh, like this particular one, it was Saudi Arabia's first toy show, and so it wasn't more like cosplayers there. I was basically one of the main characters that they wanted because one, it was a toy show, and I was like a giant action figure, pretty much. So I mean, because like when I designed the suit, the Juggernaut suit, I wanted it to be more like an action figure. So, and that's what they got. And so the people over there were shocked to see what I look like. And it was just thousands of people coming up to me and wanting to take photos, and just being able to give them the experience to see the suit up close. It was great. I love the reactions to the suit.
I've seen your Juggernaut suit, and it's really beefy. I feel like I've seen it before years ago on a YouTube video.
Yeah, I debuted him at WonderCon back in 2019, I believe. And no, I'm sorry, not WonderCon, at San Diego Comic Con. And
Nice.
it got a huge, huge reaction because basically it was, the first kind of actual size Juggernaut that people have seen. And so just seeing it in person, when you see it on the video, it doesn't do it justice as seeing it in person. So it's kind of been all over the internet. It's gone viral everywhere. I just brought him to New York, and he had a pretty much a huge reaction over there with the New York Congoers. So they love seeing him.
And New York Comic Con's a pretty big size con and over there.
Definitely, it's really big. Great experience too. That's probably one of my favorite cons to go to.
Nice. So two questions. First off, advice for first time con goers or those who are thinking about going to cons. What advice would you like to give?
I would say if you're probably don't go as cosplay first. You want to experience the con for what it is. Go see the vendors, go see the artists, and see if you want to buy stuff. Because when you're in cosplay, sometimes, at least in my experience, when I'm in cosplay, I really can't see the entire con. Because one, I'm bombarded with a lot of people around me, so I can't really get to a lot of places. I'm kind of like, Superman and Clark Kent. When I'm Clark Kent, I can go around the cons and, visit everything and see everything. So I would suggest go to a con, not cosplay yet, enjoy it first, and then maybe a couple hours, go change into your cosplay, and then, go mingle with all the other cosplayers and do photo shoots and do stuff like that. So that's pretty much the best experience. Get the con experience first before you start cosplay. If it,
That's that's not a bad idea.
yeah,
Plus, you're
you
saving money too.
you are, because there's times where I would love to see a con and I miss a lot of it because I'm in cosplay all the time, and I don't get to see the whole thing because usually I'm stuck in like a certain area for hours, you know, just doing photos and photos. I never turn down a photo with anybody. If they want to take photos, I'm more than happy to do it. The only thing is just I don't get to experience the rest of the con.
But it is nice when you do get to experience the con out of cosplay, though.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Like I was just a guest at LA Comic Con, so I had my own booth, so I was able to see the con before all the other people were there. I walked around not in cosplay, and it actually felt pretty good not being in cosplay. It's just because usually I'm either on stilts or I'm on these big platforms, and I was actually walking around normal. I'm like, oh my god, I'm not sweating or anything. I'm not in pain. I'm pretty good. I can see the store. I can see this figure, and I can actually buy something. It was great.
Oh, I mean, without getting like bombarded by a bunch of people when they see like their favorite life-size character.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, and that's
Uh,
that's a great part of conning for me too.
nice. Now, for first-time people who are wanted to cosplay internationally, what's some of advice you would want to give on international cosplaying?
depending on the area that you're going, like when I went to Saudi Arabia, I did a lot of homework as far as what their culture is, what they accept, what they don't accept, um, places to see, how to transport around. That's probably the biggest hurdle, was just being able to communicate and be comfortable with the area that you're in. Is it going to be easier for you to get around? Like, how are you going to get around? Have that have a plan as far as like how you're going to get around, and who you're going to be with. It's kind of daunting, especially if you've never been to an area and you're not familiar with it. So kind of get to know where you're going.
That's again, that's pretty sound advice. Now a question I always ask on here, or at least I try to ask, would you recommend for a first time con goer or first time cosplayer going to a convention? Would you recommend, as I put it, a convention exit buddy, basically someone to bring with you in case things just get a little too much at a con?
Yes. So for me, for example, I always have handlers with me. So, I mean, that's basically based on the suits that I have. One, I can't dress myself, so I always have to have somebody with me. But, it's always good to have, people with you, for anything. Just, uh, you know, being more comfortable, especially if you're not comfortable with, you know, the people around or the area, at least you'll have that person that's with you who's going to be like your Robin if you're Batman.
That's some pretty, again, that's some pretty sound advice. I know, especially when it comes to cosplayers who do those big, massive, bulky builds, or like have the big floofy dresses. It's always good to have, as you said, as you put it, a cosplay handler, because trying to maneuver through a con or get into the cosplay is it's got to be a task in itself.
Oh, it definitely is. I could not do these cons if it weren't for my handlers, and I have three handlers that are with me, so they kind of interchange who wants to go here, who wants to go there. Whatever perks I get, they get. So
Nice.
you know,
Um, mind giving those handlers a shout out if you want to, or if you're able to.
yeah, I got my other handler is Tavo. He goes by Tavolicious on Instagram, and then there's Liz Sakanite. She's also a big help for me. Her name, or Liz, that's her name too.
Let's. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, just just making sure. Again, this is my second time using StreamYard.
Uh,
Let's see here. So for first time cosplayers or those who want to get into this hobby, um, what would you recommend budget wise? Like for those who are in like thrift stores, or what would you recommend for a cosplayer on a budget?
Cosplayer on a budget. That's a good question. It really depends on the character that you're cosplaying. You can be as simple as going to the thrift store and buying old clothing and repurposing it in any of whatever thing you can think of. Um, Probably starting out, if whatever your talent is for cosplaying, like if you can sew, that's probably a great thing to just to buy fabric and create something yourself. Um, Budget wise, it just really matters of what you're comfortable in spending. Some can get like $80, some can go like to $1,000. Just depends on how eccentric you want to go.
I mean, I'm sure with your cosplay, you spent quite a bit.
Yeah, I have whole rolls of foam and all these other materials that I use, so it can get kind of pricey for sure.
I believe it. So I want to. I'm kind of curious, and for those I'm sure who are watching, what made you want to decide to do, you know, big bill cosplays compared to your, I guess regular cosplays?
So when it came to big builds, it was actually more of a comfort thing for me. So I'm a big kind of Polynesian kind of guy, stocky. So I can't wear a spandex suit and be like Spider-Man. So that's just not something I was comfortable in. Um, so creating something a little bit more oversized and I kind of have a little free flow and my body is not so tight forming. That's kind of where the big builds kind of came from. And plus, I'd see a lot of big characters that didn't get any love out in the cosplay world. Usually you would see all heroes, you know, Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, that kind of thing. But you never saw like any villains or anything. So um, when I did Juggernaut, you know, I wanted to bring a villain back out so that, you know, these heroes had someone to fight against. And you know, you don't hardly ever see characters like that. And that was another big thing is I like to do stuff that no one else is doing or that you hardly ever see at a con. So most of the stuff that I do, you probably won't ever see anyone else do it. You know, so that's kind of how it expanded for me at least.
Yeah, I've noticed in the in the convention circuit and cosplay circuit, like every con I've seen online or in person, there's like only like probably two to four, maybe if maybe five big build cosplays. Yeah, you see at a convention like that are like larger than life.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a big thing because trying to transport that also is another done.
Oh,
You know
I can't imagine trying to
that.
transport that across to a different continent.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, when I brought the Juggernaut suit, it was actually 3 large cases that I had to bring it to Saudi Arabia, and it was the first time that I traveled overseas with it, and or brought them on a plane. And they actually lost my upper body of the Juggernaut. So
Oh,
I'm at the convention. All I had was the lower half. So I'm wearing like, where's my other half? You know, and find out that it never left San Francisco. And I'm here in
oh
Saudi Arabia,
no.
and there's no suit. So I mean, that's another thing that is daunting is the transport of the suits.
Oh, I imagine I've heard stories of cosplayers having to be at the convention just and have their stuff mailed to them and get lost. But like, I can't
Yeah,
imagine packing a whole giant Juggernaut cosplay from here to Saudi Arabia, and I imagine also the looks on the the airport's faces when they're just seeing these big bulky, you know,
big boxes.
things being transported.
Yeah, definitely. Like when I brought them to New York, it was even the same thing. Even in the U.S., a lot of the agents were like, "What's in this box? What's on that?" And I said, "Well, if you really want to know, it's a big Juggernaut suit." They're like, "What? What is that?" So I showed them a picture. It goes, "Oh my God, I've seen you! I've seen you on the internet." And you know, so they were like, "Oh my God, it's the actual suit is right here in front of me." Blah blah blah. I'm like, "Yeah, here it is." So,
Nice.
it's fun.
Now, I think I don't know if I asked it because I always ask a lot of questions. I guess advice for those who want to build a big suit cosplay.
Oh, okay. So that one is pick a good character and a character that can be anatomically um, and physically able to be suited up in. You know, you can't be like a skinny robot and expect to be in the suit and be kind of normal. So a lot of the characters that I have still have like the limbs, their arms, the legs, and you know the midsection, all that. But character choice is probably the biggest thing in trying to make a large suit. It just has to be able to be comfortable in it and be able to walk around. Like my Vader suit, for example, is not the easiest thing to walk in, but I can still stand and I can still move my arms in. You know, so basically, just pick a character that you're going to be comfortable walking around in, because it's not the
Mhm.
easiest thing to walk at a con in.
Oh, I imagine. Speaking of, actually, I wanted to go more into your Vader Buster. What was the concept and idea behind a bulky, badass R2D2 mech?
So it actually started with me. I really wanted to build a Hulkbuster suit, and because that's one thing I didn't have. So when I started designing the suit, you know, I was looking at on the internet for images on the suit, and so as I'm planning out the suit, all of a sudden I started getting images of Star Wars stuff, R2D2, and I'm like, why am I getting R2D2 feeds coming in? So, and like I said before, I kind of like to do a lot of things differently and not the same as others. I've seen Hulkbuster suits out there, so I'm thinking, well, how can I make this different? And when I started seeing the R2, I'm like, well, what if I put R2D2 piloting a Hulkbuster suit? And so I'm trying to figure out how can I do that? So I'm like, okay, it'll be like how they were putting him in the ships. They were putting him by a crane. So my idea was just, they would put R2 craning him into the Hulkbuster suit, and then it'll just be his head basically. That's kind of how I figured the Vader Buster would be different. R2D2 piloting, and then just paint scheme is R2. So that's how that idea came. Just by
Nice.
chance that R2D2 images started coming up on my computer.
For anyone curious, I'll be showing a bigger picture of it, of course. For anyone curious, this is the Vader Buster suit. That is really cool.
Yeah, and he has
How?
R2D2 sound and everything.
Oh wait, that thing has sounds.
Yeah, so
What?
on the inside of the chest area, there's speakers, and I have a soundboard attached to my hand. So as I'm clicking onto my palm, it releases the R2D2 sounds.
That is so cool. I okay. I'm curious. How tall is that suit?
It's about 6'9".
Oh damn, it's pretty. That's pretty tall.
Yeah, because I took a picture. I was at D23 not too long ago, and one of the basketball players, I think he plays for the Clippers. Um, he's one of the twin giant brothers. Um, he's 7 foot legit, and I was basically like close head to head with him. So it was a great gauging of how tall R2 was standing next to him.
That's pretty tall. How long did he take to make?
That was about a 4 month build.
And I imagine that was like a team build.
Yeah, it was a team build. Me and a great artist friend of mine. He goes by Amri Habibi. I work with him a lot, and we kind of gel together as far as how can I put my ideals into reality. So he helps me a lot with that.
Well, shout out to him for helping you with that suit. That's just pretty freaking cool. So now on to the cosplays you've done over the years. What's that one cosplay you've not done in so long that you would like to bring back?
Oh, that would be Thanos. So when I did Thanos, I kind of made him not the giant size because I kind of wanted to be able to walk around normal in a cosplay, so to speak. So I'm walking around, and he's still like 6 foot, but after wearing him, everyone loves seeing Thanos and everything. But the more I get into him, like he should be bigger. So I actually gonna redo him and make him more like 7 feet tall and the more Thanos size build. So he's one that I'm gonna bring back.
Nice, and I love the attention to detail to the mask too.
Yeah. It's a great friend of mine, Walter Welsh. He put that together for me. So he'll be helping me with rebuilding Thanos.
I can't wait to see that. That is really cool. Now, a cosplay that, as I call it, one and done cosplays. It was a cosplay that someone asked you to do, you were curious about doing, but you haven't cosplayed it since.
Ultraman. So I did Ultraman. I think was it Tiga? I can't remember which Ultraman suit I did, but I put him together. He was fine and all, but as I look at the Ultraman, he's more slim and skinnier. And like I said, I'm not like a skinny guy. So I'm more husky and bulky. So when I put him on, I'm like, okay, this is like a thicker Ultraman. So it just didn't go well with me. So that's one suit that I did. I wore it, but he's shelved right now until I redo him somehow.
I was about to ask, would you ever want to would you ever do him for, like, if the situation called for it?
Oh, I would redo him now because I actually lost a lot of weight, working out more, and so yeah, I could probably repurpose him and slim him down more. But yeah, I have to do it again.
Nice. Now, what has been your all-time favorite cosplay? Like, no matter what, you always enjoy cosplaying. As I guess, as would put it, your comfort cosplay.
My well, I would probably have to say Juggernaut. Uh, Considering how big he is, he's still actually pretty comfortable to wear. Like when I wore him at San Diego, I wore him for 10 hours straight, and
10 hours? Oh, wow.
it, San Diego, so many people in San Diego, and was I was surrounded basically. I couldn't go anywhere, and so I literally like took pictures with every single person that wanted to take a picture with me. And the more I was in it, the more comfortable I got. So I didn't even feel any pain. Well, I take that back. I felt pain after the con was over. I started feeling like on my knees and my thighs and everything, but so worth it. I could still be walking around in him easily. So he's probably one of my favorites to wear.
Nice. Now, let's see here. I always ask. Oh yeah. Cosplay mishaps. Cosplay of yours that either ripped, tore, snapped, fell off, shattered, broke. Whether you're getting ready for the convention or at the convention, basically everything that did go wrong, everything that could go wrong did go wrong.
Well, I probably have to say the only thing that I had an issue with on one of my suits was my Sentinel suit, and I wore him at LA Comic Con. Now I'm pretty careful with all the suits that I have, especially at the con. I don't do any crazy things, but this particular time when I was walking in the con in the Sentinel, for some reason my left foot actually started feeling a little loose and on the base. So I'm wearing platforms, like a 1 foot riser that's built into my boot. And as I was walking, luckily I got out of the vendor hall and I was walking in the hallway, and my left foot actually rolled, and kind of like when you roll an ankle. So basically, I I started falling, and my handlers are luckily they're in front of me, and I said, I'm falling, so I'm going forward, and now one caught me halfway, but I'm still now face flat on the floor in my Sentinel suit, and the the shin part actually ripped, and the calf part on the right side ripped. So I'm like, oh great! So now I have this gigantic hole and gash in the suit, and um, so took I they had to pick me up. Had these two other guys that were sitting off onto the side. They came, picked me up. I was literally like a robot if I fell down, and they had to run, and then, so I I took they took off the suit right then and there, and I saw what the damage was. I was like, oh God, there it goes. It's a big, giant rip right through the calf. But the good thing with foam, you can just put it right back together. It's not like, a 3D print. If it breaks, that thing's broken. So I always have a repair kit with me. I had some super glue, I had some bonds, and basically I repaired it right there on the spot. And um, he was good to go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Um, that's never fun though, especially, and I imagine the Sentinel weighed quite a bit too.
Well, surprisingly, all my suits are actually pretty light because it's all made out of EVA foam. So the whole
Oh,
suit itself.
a cosplayer's best friend.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if I, regardless how big the suit is, I always try to make it as light as possible. So, Sentinel, it's about 25 pounds total, and it's pretty light.
Nice. I guess now, since you're one of few cosplayers I've had on who have done big builds, what's been your biggest build project? Like one that you did, previously or years ago?
Optimus Prime.
Oh, I
He,
think I actually saw that on your story, on your Instagram story.
yeah, he's about 10 feet tall when I'm in him. So he's
Oh,
pretty
good God.
yeah hard to walk in. But
Oh, I, I mean, I believe it. I mean, big robot suits like the actors and the actors who wore kaiju suits or Power Ranger suits. I imagine they felt the same wearing such a big suit. But 10 feet tall.
yeah, he's like 10 feet.
Ooh.
Oh, he's 10 feet,
Oh, geez.
and he's one my most tallest of all the suits. I have a Bumblebee. He's like 8.5 to 9 feet tall. A lot easier to walk around in.
Oh,
Um,
I imagine Bumblebee is a whole lot because a little bit shorter and not as bulky and stocky as Optimus Prime.
yeah, no, he's definitely not as bulky. He's like my Optimus Prime. He has way more details into him. Like you can see all the rivets, the nuts, the bolts, and everything. When I did Bumblebee, I made him more like the VW suit that you saw in his latest movie. So um, he's a lot more comfortable to actually walk in and be in longer if I had to.
Nice.
Optimus is
Um,
very.
how long did Optimus take to make?
That one was about 5 months, I'd say.
And that's been your longest, and that's been your longest project.
Yeah, so far it's been the longest. Just because you had to
Uh,
do you had to do a lot of the little detail stuff.
oh, I'm sure, and I'm sure later down the road you'll have one that'll take even longer.
Not bad, yeah. Yeah, right now I'm doing um, Onslaught, and I've just about finished doing Rhino.
Ooh. Isn't Onslaught like Magneto?
Yeah,
Like the
Magneto.
big bag Magnetos? Yeah, I've.
Yeah, he's
Oh
a comp
wow.
Magneto and Professor X.
And you're also doing Anton Alexei, aka Rhino. I actually saw your progress photos, and I gotta say, I love the attention to detail on his forearms with the tattoo.
Yeah, so I try to make it like, okay, I'm gonna make him more me. So I figure, so I got a lot of Polynesian tattoos on me. Why not put him on the arm? So he's not gonna be a Russian rhino. He's gonna be a
The
Polynesian.
apologies, right? I love it. That's honestly really cool.
Yeah, like be different. So there you go.
Now, another thing I was like asking. It's probably one of my favorite questions for anyone who is familiar with this. Um, cosplay convention horror stories or weird and awkward moments that happen at a con.
Oh, I have to say I don't really have any horror or bad ones, because I'm
Or I guess,
surrounded.
funny moments too.
That's a good one. Let's see. Any funny moment? The only time I would say is, I guess, when I met Lou Ferrigno, and I was dressed as the Red Hulk, and so when I put my Red Hulk suit on, I'm like 6'4" in the suit, and that's how tall Lou Ferrigno is. Lou Ferrigno is a big guy in person.
I mean, the guy was Hulk back in the 70s.
Yeah, he was Hulk, and then you know I'm there with him at the con, and he sees the suit in person. He's like, "Wow, you could have just played me in the TV show," kind of thing. And he held me and gave me a good hug. I'm like, "Yeah, I got the Hulk right hugging me, Hulk to Hulk." So, it was a great experience. He was a good guy, but yeah, it was fun seeing reaction to the suit.
Nice. Like when you get like a moment like that, when you have like the actor, you know, want to like admire you, that's really cool.
Oh yeah, definitely. When they see the suit in person, and you know it was like I did another Green Hulk, and I did it like the '70s style Lou Ferrigno Hulk when he was wearing his plaid shirt. So I did like a little homage to. Well, this is like the second time that I've met him in a different Hulk suit. So he always
Nice.
appreciates the suit, and he doesn't see a lot of Hulk cosplayers. So it was,
Especially like the kind you do.
yeah, yeah. I want him to see my newest one. So, like the newest Hulk that I did, he's like 6'9". He's a lot bigger and a lot wider, a lot harder to be in. But yeah,
Oh,
he's definitely one to see in person.
oh, that'd be pretty cool to see. Um, let's see now. What? Oh man. You've answered a good chunk of my questions already.
Yeah, Comic Square.
Let's, oh man. I guess. Oh yeah, future cosplays. Cosplays you are currently working on, or characters you would love to cosplay in the future.
So currently, I'm working on Omega Red, Mr. Sinister. I'm finishing up on my Rhino. Let's see. I got Onslaught, Ultron, Kiryu, Mecha Godzilla.
Wait,
Um,
Kiryu?
yeah, Kiryu.
Who's that?
He's Mecha Godzilla. He's
Oh,
the
Mech. Oh, the robot god. The robot Godzilla.
Robot Godzilla. His name's Kiryu.
Uh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm going towards back to the big boys again, but I am doing Mr. Sinister
Nice.
Red, so they're more of the normal sized cosplays. But
Nice.
I tend to stay on the Marvel side a lot.
And aside from DC, because you're a big Marvel fan.
Way big Marvel fan. I just like the characters more.
There is nothing wrong with that. So last question before we end this, just advice in general you want to throw out there for those who are watching and or listening.
Have fun cosplaying. It doesn't matter what you cosplay, who you cosplay, and it doesn't matter how it looks. As long as you like it, that's all that matters. It's all about having fun. The cosplay community, they are all about just having a good time, regardless of what you're wearing or what you look like. Have fun with it.
I can't. That's really sound advice. Now before we end this, would you like to promote yourself by dropping the links so people can find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Hummin H2 underscore H2. That's HUMMIN underscore H2. You can also find me on TikTok under the Cosplay Life. So
Nice. And again, wait, what was that?
and those are basically my two that I'm always on.
Okay.
More,
And links to the wait, what? He cut out again. Sorry.
yeah, mostly I'm on Instagram more than anything.
Nice. Again, links to those will be in the description below. Again, Roger, thank you for coming on to sharing your cosplay and convention experience. I cannot wait to see more of your big, bulky cosplays, and hopefully get to see you in person one of these days at a future con.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for having me, and definitely hope to see you at a con.
Nice. Same here. As always, I'm Wayne the Unknown. Until next time, thank you for listening. Thank you for listening, and also thank you for watching.